Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk about horror. So for today's video, I had just an idea the other day because I went to the movies to see The Twin, which is the new movie by the Finnish director that created Lake Bottom. And I did enjoy it. If you want to hear my spoiler-free review, I have it on my other channel, but you're here to talk about books, and so I thought, you know, why not make a small list of some horror and thriller books that have twins.
It's coffee time.
I think the idea of twins is really intriguing to a lot of people because most of us don't have twins, so we will never really know what it is, and it is something a little bit weird, I guess, if you can look at yourself, but it looks like you, but it's not you. And some twins are so similar that, you know, it's something really fascinating. It's always fascinated me, and I feel like it is a perfect topic for a horror setting or a thriller setting. And I thought I would put up a list of 10 books that have twins. Let's start with a YA classic from the Point Horror series, and that is The Twins by Caroline B. Cooney. And this follows a set of twins, and these girls seem to be like a mirror image. They seem to be the same person, but are they now? Everything was fine until they got separated, and then their lives turned out to be really different. And one of them became really popular and started to have a really nice life. But the other twin, Mary Lee, she's not so lucky, or she doesn't feel so lucky. She kind of wishes she would have her sister's life, and that is her wish. Would her wish come true? This is kind of a typical setting, if you may, but this is a great YA book from the Point Horror series that if you have not read, I definitely recommend you to check out. Her Fearful Symmetry by Audrey Niffenegger, and this is more of a mystery with some thriller horror elements to it. And the best part about this book, though, it is that it's based on a cemetery in London. So when it comes to the setting and the atmosphere, it is perfect for a little bit of spookiness. Valentina and Jill are seemingly normal American teenagers, and they're also twins. As far as I know, also their mom was a twin, and her sister, their aunt, has recently just passed away and has left them her apartment in London. So the teens decide to move from America to London to live there in the aunt's apartment. And when they move there, they realize that the apartment is basically touching the cemetery, which cozy vibes. And also the people in the building, you know, they're starting to get to know all the neighbors, and they all seem to be a little bit weird. This is more of your typical ghost story, you know, with the atmospheric cemetery setting, but it is also a bit more contemporary than your typical ghost story. But this is a very solid ghost story. It does have a little bit of fantasy added to it, so meaning that sometimes you do have to be in a little bit of disbelief for certain parts or things that perhaps a little bit too convenient, but this is still a really nice ghost story read. Whorehouse by Mary Hooper, who is a British author for children's and young readers, and this is a short book. I think it's under 130 pages or so. It's gonna be perfect if you're looking for a creepy story with twins that it's not too long. Not much that I can tell you about it because it is a short one, but it is about a new couple that move into this house, and they basically realize, or they're told the story, that this house used to be a school, and there is a lot of stories and legends involving that school. So this is gonna be great if you're looking for some atmospheric horror that it is not, you know, for adults, nothing too intense, and also a quick read. Breathe by Chase Novak. This is adult horror, and I would say this is for people that like their stories or their fiction to be a little bit more weird or bizarre. And this follows a couple that are extremely desperate to get pregnant, to have children, and they've tried literally anything and it's just not happening. So they decide to fly to another country to undergo a procedure that is not really legal or safe, or recommended. But they are willing to do anything. So they do that, and they end up getting pregnant with twins. So they are extremely happy. The twins are born, and yeah, everything seems to be fine until the twins start growing up and they start to change. I would say that this book is a book that it is a fairly slow pace, so also don't expect like a super action-packed book from the get-go. And this is a more of a drier tone, like with the writing. I still did enjoy it, but it did take me a little bit longer to read than other books. So just putting it out there, because I know some people will not even try if they know that the book is so slow paced. But definitely it was a book that I did not expect, this type of story. And yeah, I still have to read book 2 because there is 2 books, and I will report back on that one as well. Haunted Sister by Lyle Lithke, and this is a YA paranormal horror. In this case, we follow a woman that after an accident ends up in a coma, and when she wakes up, she claims to have the voice of her deceased twin sister in her head. She believes something happened when she almost died in the accident. So this is basically our premise for the story. And I guess, you know, you could say this book kind of explore ghosts, if they are something that we create, something that is in our head, something that actually exists. So, you know, it's an interesting take on a ghost story. The Ice Twins by S.K. Tremaine. This is a mystery thriller that I read a couple of years ago. I found this book randomly, like one of those bookstores that sell really cheap, like mystery thrillers and stuff like that. And I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I ended up loving it a lot more than I thought, because this is such a cool atmospheric setting on a really rainy island and kind of an isolated community, and I absolutely love that. We are following a family, and when they lose one of their twin daughters, they are really struggling, and they decide to move outside to this Scottish island where they have a property to try of, you know, grieve and move on with their lives and kind of move away from everything that still reminds them of the daughter that they lost. Winter is around the corner, and this island gets really cold, and things get a little bit confusing in the fog, and the family that we follow are really concerned when their daughter that survived claims to be the dead twin. And of course, as any good mystery thriller, we get some interesting plot twists and turns, which might shock you, might not. But this is really interesting for people that are looking for a gloomy, cozy, rainy, cold, isolated island mystery thriller. The Girl in the Mirror by Rose Carlyle, and this is another mystery thriller that follows 2 twin sisters. Since I don't want to spoil too much from this book, and I feel like the official synopsis tells a lot too much, the only thing that I will mention about this one, you know, this is really your typical mystery thriller, and in this specific mystery thriller we also have kind of like a common theme, I guess, when you're writing about twins, and that is that one of the twins seems to have these really happy life, really lucky, perfect husband, perfect life, and the other twin feels like that's what they deserve to, and they don't have it, and they might be willing to go really far to steal it. Twins, Deadringers by Barry Wood, and this is a horror story that includes queer characters, and this is also the story that inspired the movie by David Cronenberg, so you already know that this is going to be heck weird. It follows the life of twin brothers that are both gynecologists, have a drug problem, and yeah, this is really weird. I mean, if you've watched the movie, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. I feel like if you like any of the Cronenberg movies, you might enjoy this story, because obviously you know that it's going to be a little bit bonkers. And I like the fact that we are actually following twin brothers, because it feels like most of these stories are based on twin sisters, and I feel like this is a perfect read for people that are looking for something quite different. Next we have Slate House by David Mitchell, and this might not have your typical twin pair, but this was such a nice read, and it's also kind of a short one, and it is about this house that appears when all stars align, you know, with the perfect weather at the perfect moment, in the perfect place. And when you knock on the door, a stranger invites you inside. This book is not really written in chapters, more like in years, and they take you a little bit back and forth in time. This is also another one that I would say it's a little bit more strange, so you have to be a little bit more open for it. This is gonna be perfect if you love paranormal stories or stories about weird houses and houses that appear out of the blue in certain places. I definitely really enjoyed this one, and I feel like a lot more people should read it. And of course, I wanted to finish this video with a book that a lot of people know and have recommended that I still have to read. I started it at one point, but I was just not in the mood for that type of book, so I felt like it was not fair to the book for me to read it when I was not in the perfect mood, because I probably would have DNF'd it, and it's not the book's fault. It's just it was not the moment for me. And that is The Other by Thomas Tryon, and this one is a very well-beloved classic that includes twins. This book is based on the 30s, and it's been said that it recreates the best one of those really small communities, and I believe this one takes place in Connecticut, and it follows, of course, a set of twins. This book is from the 70s, I believe from 71, so it is an oldie, so the writing style might be a little bit, you know, drier than your typical contemporary stories, and it explores the possibility of a supernatural connection between tweens. Like I said, this one was on my TBR pile once, and I picked it up, but I was just not in the right mindset. I was not really getting into it, and I feel like the book deserves for me to give it a proper second chance, so I'm definitely gonna be checking this one out. But yeah, this was my last tween recommendation. Alright guys, so these are 10 books that in one way or another include tweensies, and twins, like I said, are something really fascinating to me. So if you know of any other books that include twins, let me know down below. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye!